Now, in the front, you see the new Hyundai design language, the Cascade grille as they call it. You've seen that on the facelift on the Grand i10 and the Accent recently. Besides that, you also get this nice big headlamp with the daytime running LED lights. They are projector headlamps, and you also got a projector fog lamp now, by the way. A little bit of chrome housing down there. Overall, in terms of shape and size, you won't be wrong if you suddenly think, hey, hang on, is this just a facelift of the last car? But when you put the two together is when you realize that this is actually bigger, because it sits on the K2 platform, which is the larger platform that also supports the Elantra. At the back, the coupe roofline is more pronounced than the last models because it almost completely comes down into the tail lamp as one line, and so yes, it compromises headroom a little bit, but we'll talk about that. And finally, you've got the tail lamp, which is the most modern contemporary feature at the back. It looks very attractive, and yes, it is LED. In fact, that pattern is just, you could say, an upside down version of what's on the i20. So the family look is maintained. 1.6D tells you that this is the diesel, so the CRDI badging is gone, and you've got the little D now making an appearance as well. That's something new, and it's a nice roomy, spacious boot as well. Why not show you a quick glimpse of that? And yes, it will take in a fair amount of luggage. Now, another new feature on the top-end Verna. Why am I carrying this camera bag? You'll soon see why. There you go. The boot just opens on its own when it senses the key. And so when your hands are full, that is of course a convenient feature to have. Nice and easy. Now in some cars you have the little wave of the leg under the bumper, etc. But you look like an idiot doing that forever and it doesn't work. So just proximity, kind of stand there for a few seconds and the boot pops open. That's nice. In terms of impression of quality, layout, plastics and colors, you'll find that this cabin comes across as more refined than the competition. Cars like the Ciaz, the Honda City, they will seem a little more plasticky than this one, and I have to say the quality of plastics compared to the last Verna, this is a huge jump up. It's also a nice layout. It's sort of simple and it's understated. The whole focus of the design is to keep things understated because the outside's already kind of exaggerated, isn't it? And that's what the designers have shared with us. Now, the steering wheel and the layout will seem similar to some of the other cars, the Tucson, the Elantra, and that's because it is. And you do get a little TFT screen here that gives you a lot of information. It's a nice big 7-inch touchscreen on the top-end version. It's a 5-inch on the lower variants, and the base variant doesn't get one. You've also got climate control here with the whole clean air thing, which is, well, they call it eco-coating, which filters out even more pollutants, gives you a cleaner cabin air circulation, says Hyundai. A segment first that Hyundai is very excited about are these, the seat ventilation for the front two seats. Top end gets the leatherette seats. You've got fabric in every other variant. And let's talk a little bit about that 7-inch touchscreen. The touchscreen works really well. It's intuitive, it's nice, it's got Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, so you access the Apple CarPlay menu like in every other car, and you can also, of course, go down to the other functions on these quick touch buttons as well. The navigation is standard again at the top end, and it works quite well. We've used it today. Lots of controls here on the steering wheel. The TFT screen there gives you plenty of driver information as well. Now at the back is where the last Verna suffered, especially in comparison to the Ciaz. Not enough legroom, not enough space or sense of space. Unfortunately, it remains the Achilles heel even of this new generation, and it's surprising to me because, well, you're talking about the K2 platform. It's the same as the Elantra. You could have gone with a little more generosity. The wheelbase has increased and there is more space here than the last Verna, but it could still become a bit of a sticking point. Also, headroom, because of the coupe roofline, feels a little compromised. Now, I'm not uncomfortable, but the sense of space gets a little diminished. You've got the drop-down armrest, which is nice. It's got cup holders in it, which is nice. But the other little grouse I have is that for the middle occupant, since this is officially a 5-seater, you only get a lap belt, which when you're trying to go high-end and trying to go global in your model outlook, you should have ideally had the 3-point seat belt as well. So that's again a little bit of a disappointment. But otherwise, fit and finish is good, seat comfort is good, angle is good, and you've got the rear AC vent and another little USB charge point. Also very good. That is really the handling and the ride which will impress you the most. It's the big difference and the departure from the last Verna as well, as far as comparisons go, and also when it comes to comparing with its rival cars. The ride is something that I think a lot of buyers will appreciate, their families too, because even if you're not driving, it's got a nice comfortable feel to it. It's a little bit on the sporty side, so it's got a little stiffness to it, but it's not uncomfortable, it's not bouncy, and I think the suspension settings therefore have been done really well. And in terms of handling as well, I feel like the car's dynamic overall has improved tremendously compared to the last cars. The 1.6 diesel will come across as a lot more refined now, for sure, and there is no sense of lag. Its response is nice and quick, and the good news is that because very specifically the work that's been carried out is towards the low-end torque being improved and enhanced, you get that impression straight away, so you don't have to have a lot of gear changes as well, even in city traffic. I mean, some time ago I was pulling along in 5th gear, and then I had dropped down to about 1000 RPM and there was no problem at all. The car even starts from standstill in 3rd, so that's the part I think which will really make a lot of people happy. It's also something that's been improved on the petrol side of things. Before I get to that petrol though, I want to quickly also mention to you that there are some bad bits. The brakes could have been a little bit sharper, a little more precise. I would like to see that because, well, there was a little bit of a grouse with the last car as well. It kind of continues with this one. Steering is a lot more precise though than the last car, and while I would have liked for it to have also been telescopic and not just height adjustable, it's otherwise pretty amply designed in terms of how you hold it and everything else.